Compassion is the basis of morality. Arthur Schopenhauer. How do we rid ourselves from an adhesive frame reference? What does that even mean? Does Mo Rusty Code operate in a free flow framed reference? Perhaps it is time for me to tell you a bit about myself. Not that I want to, but to provide the foundational backdrop that I put Seryla Philosophy against. But first, I will start with a recent exchange on X. A hardcore Christian Zionist engaged in saying someone, not myself, was a horrible person. The self-declared accusation was simply a personal attack, without providing any supporting evidence. I replied in my best religious language about Christian love and creating your personal connection to God. And I believe I did a little ditty about adding in some evidential elements to her dislike about the person at hand. Well, maybe I shouldn't have used the word ditty. Okay, too late. Let's move on. She replied that I can take my New Age religion and put it where, well, you understand, and that no one is going to tell her about how to interface with God. Fair enough, I thought, and replied. And I thought that was, well, that. But she came back saying that she accepted my acknowledgement that I had been disrespectful to her. Interesting. She was the one being disrespectful, but her adhesive frame reference took my bringing up Christian love and God and bent the idea's aim around her disrespectful statement, blinding her to her own actions, and turning a gentle reminder about Christian love, and turned that into a statement of disrespect to her. My suspicion is that she views herself as perfect in thought. Now, I don't need to win arguments or to say that I got in the last word, and I always hold that maybe I misstep. Besides, I said to her what I had thought, and perhaps in time it would unconsciously bounce around in her head, and that someday she may come to a realization that she carries an adhesive framed reference. If that happens someday, she won't necessarily even remember this input, and the revelation will be felt by her as being her own growth. And you know, that is wonderful if that happens. Now, this is as such as it is with most human beings. There are videos out there about how tribalism replaces rational thinking. I know enough that I cannot change anyone's mental position. But I can put into their head and into their subconscious an idea. After all, that is what is happening to us every day of our lives. This is especially prevalent in our media, be it so-called mainstream, podcasters, movies, or music. Talent hits a target no one else can hit. Genius hits a target no one else can see. Now, I am certainly not suggesting I am a genius. I am only bright at best. But this statement by Schopenhauer and the example I gave does illustrate how an adhesive frame reference can deflect incoming ideas away from their relation to reality. An adhesive frame reference is exactly what elites try to create to obtain their power and authority. So, having a free flow framed reference is crucial to prevent becoming their avatar, their vessels of operators, to manipulate and subjugate and dominate populations. If you have children, the probability is higher that you may concede your free will due to life limitations you are surrounded by. But part of raising your children is not only to help them grow into good and successful adults, but to launch them into a good and fair world as well. Certainly, elites would not agree with this. Self-protection and self-protection of immediate family would be in order. Since adhesive frame references serves their purpose, that is what they will drive to create in an unsuspecting population. Now, how these dynamics play out in the broadband, at least as my mental animations are extrapolating here, is not part of today's video. I am planning and attempting to show how I chose to attempt to create a clean framed reference. Every man takes the limits of his own field of vision for the limits of the world. I started by asking myself a series of questions. Now, this self-questioning went on for decades. Therefore, I can't adequately present it in any detail here. Also, I am not implying that it is a formula that fits everyone either. But I had to resolve what is the best course of action when one knows no truth. So, let us start with a clean slate. Upon pondering, is there a God? What then is the best behavior for humans to engage in? If there is a God, is it good, bad, indifferent, and so on? Further, going through each, I found a surprisingly consistent response. Again, this is just my journey. Unfortunately, I have to oversimplify, but the following emerged. Let's start with no God. What is the best choice of action? Well, it is positive growth. That is the only way to improve human experience. Here is where the physical existence emergent energy of love shows its position. Love grows. Hate destroys. What if it is a bad God? What is the best choice of action? Well, again, it is positive growth. That is the only way to improve human experience. In this scenario, even if you act bad to appease the bad God, you're going to get crapped on to the fullest at some point anyways. Bad is going to do bad, so the only option you have is to do good to bring yourself some autonomy. After all, any promises of bliss for you are simply narcissistic self-love for that bad God. This bad God will relish your bad behavior and reward you with, well, hell. This bad God gains from your bad behavior, whereas he doesn't if you are good. That is the only way to stick it to him. He is going to do the same bad things to you over and over anyways. What about an indifferent God? Well, what is the best choice of action? It is positive growth. That is the only way to improve human experience. Here again, the responsibility falls straight on you. What about a good God? Well, a good God will want you to be good. A good God would want that to come from yourself. Therefore, here is where the materialist and the spiritualist come together. You, and only you, doing what you find to be the best behaviors to develop a good, peaceful, loving, and coexistent world. This is independent to any indoctrination, which are attempts to apply an adhesive frame reference onto you to modify your free will. Bottom line, it doesn't matter if you believe in a good God or not. If you are made to think that you have to praise him, especially through what other human beings say, this could actually impede your free will. All that matters is that you align with goodness in the end. This is independent of human written books or human assigned ego to an egoless God. A good God doesn't care if you even know he exists. He only wants you to be good. What matters is how your behavior aligns with the good God. If you align with good, and if the God you are in belief with is fake, well, you got the best of them. If the good God is real, well, you would be in line with the divine anyways. If he really is a good God, it wouldn't matter if you directly worshiped him or not. So, with all of this, and if there is a good God, how would his word be communicated to you? This is where I come to see physical existence with the emergent energy of love as the Word of God, because this interaction between love and reality involves positive growth, not destruction or decay. So, for the materialists, our reality is the source of truth. Perceived physical reality is the only common source between us that I can see. Part of the truth is that it is your decision to choose. To choose to grow, or ignore, or be manipulated, or to destroy via many methods, including domination. If you operate in an adhesive frame reference, which is most likely, then the target I clumsily try to show probably is not seen. So, you may describe to this or that, and that, this or that, pushes away centering on truth. So now, am I just some stupid New Age malarkey? And as a side thought, I never understood this automatic response that somehow ancient texts carry more weight and truth than we modern living people can ever engage in. I suspect it is a deep psychological need for an all-knowing and all-protecting parent. The ancient text, to our internal infancy, is a response to the almighty parental caregiver. It's old, so it must be better. As an antiquarian book collector, I have seen the writings of lords in the 16th and 17th century refer to the masses as children. In fact, one book originally written in the 1500s, the elite talked about how the grown-ups, the adults, played the hoop game with the same excitement as children. This is simply the game of a round hoop being pushed onward by a stick, followed by running children and apparently running adults as well. This was evidence to him that God made them, the elites, to be superior human beings, because in his view, the common people never went beyond adolescence. He never contemplated their educational disparity. In summary, seeking rewards from a good, bad, or indifferent God leads to entrapment, as it makes your free-flow reference turn into an adhesive reference that now bends away from reality, and it bends you towards an external sort focal point to manipulate you. You make yourself available to be used for anything, even potentially to kill. This is the basis for the famous Milgram experiments on displacing responsibility. The cheapest sort of pride is national pride, for if a man is proud of his own nation, it argues that he has no qualities of his own of which he can be proud. Otherwise, he would not have recourse to those which he shares with so many millions of his fellow men. The man who is endowed with important personal qualities will be only too ready to see clearly in what respects his own nation falls short, since their failings will be constantly before his eyes. But every miserable fool who has nothing at all of which he can be proud adopts, as a last resource, pride in the nation to which he belongs. He is ready and glad to defend all its faults and follies tooth and nail, thus reimbursing himself for his own inferiority. By not taking responsibility for your independence, this is where people learn to develop systems that create an adhesive frame reference. A religious authority tells you that you must read this, believe that, do this and not do that. However, it isn't only religion, but politics, the right versus the left, social systems such as communism and capitalism. All these animated thoughts by others are out there to persuade you into certain mental animations over and over without you making the determination. Then it gets even more unfortunate. People use these divides to purposefully amplify opposing systems, then add in fear to swing you into compliance, and into a closed-framed reference to the point you no longer work for yourself, but for someone you are not even aware of. For those few that have watched at least the AI videos of late, Know that we have talked about love as an emergent energy that is needed for free will to occur. Free will, again for anyone new, is not the free will defined by scientists and philosophers that creates a definition that has no materialistic center, and thus impossible to define. You know, the smart ones that ponder something deliberately made impossible, hey, look at me, I'm such a head. And we haven't yet discussed other emergent energies such as fear. Love is needed for free will to occur. Fear changes the emergent energy to other evaluate to balance systems that take place when threat is around. Manipulators know that in addition to creating adhesive frame references that make incoming ideas and thoughts that will bend away from evaluate to balance, the implanted emergent energy, in this case fear, changes the evaluate to balance criteria. Fear helps narrow the evaluate to balance field of opportunities. It could push to poor decisions, knee-jerking responses, and worse, stripping away the E equals E moral equation. Fear, along with an adhesive frame reference, can be used to dehumanize a whole population. Fear, in evolutionary development, is a reaction to threat. A lion is attacking. A lion is nearby. But a lion, well, it's real. Today, the left is made to be the new lion. The right is made to be the new lion. And the people that do this manipulation laugh at their manipulation and the ease of fooling the common people. Capitalist and communist elites use fear to gain their authority, to con the common people into unwittingly engaging in submission. Entertainment, opening the mind to pleasure, allows for ideas and thoughts to enter without regard to evaluation. Think about this emergent energy. If you watch people acting like fools, soon you find yourself in jest mimicking them. You watch people engage in disrespect to others or themselves, and soon you find yourself wanting to do the same disrespect to others or yourself. Now, I'm not saying that all entertainment is bad, as it can input good as well. Religion, and allow me to add politics, economic systems, entertainment, etc., is the masterpiece of the art of animal training, for it trains people as to how they shall think. This concept of an open free will with emergent energy of love applied to evaluate to balance relation to physical existence is large, expansive, not comprehensible in one video, nor articulated by a relatively average person as myself with limited communication skills. Mind messing with the common people has been going on for thousands of years. I apologize to say it once again, that understanding this can only start by understanding that the emergent energy of love, which is part of our physical existence experience, when applied to a free flow reference measuring against the incoming information from physical existence, that it then flows into our evaluate to balance, and thus we then have free will. That free will means you are without coercion to make your decision. It is yours, not mine or the elites, but yours. Your decisions are not by the manipulation of applied external energy of ideas and thoughts placed into you such that your evaluate the balance is compromised by deflection of human inputs over reality. You can emerge your free will. I can emerge mine. If you are a spiritualist, it is the connection to God and His will. You are free to access God as direct as you can as a human being. If you are a materialist, you are free to access the reality to which we all live in. It is your evaluation, free from external manipulation and measured against reality of physical existence. The truth is given to you directly. A man can be himself only so long as he is alone, and if he does not love solitude, he will not love freedom, for it is only when he is alone that he is really free.